Boost everyone tuning in from all around the world. Right now I'm having my very last beer for my 2023 May trip here to Munich, which is in Bavaria in the southern part of Germany. I'm drinking my favorite beer of the traditional breweries. I didn't get to try all of them, but I tried 4 out of them, out of the 7, and my favorite so far is Paulaner, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm right now at their kind of main beer hall in the city. They have a very beautiful brewery as well, so they brew the beer that they're selling here, which is awesome. They have an even bigger brewery for their national operation. I assume they have other breweries for international exports. And you're just around right over here. So it's beautiful, nice. It's a huge beer hall. It's pretty empty because it's Monday and it's pretty early. And I'm not gonna stay up too late tonight because I have an early flight tomorrow. And I decided to have my last beer right here today, right now. So I'm doing a live video. Feel free to ask me anything for this live video. I decided to do it in this portrait format because this live video won't live forever on YouTube. So if you have any interesting questions to ask me, do ask me now. Or if you watch the replay of this within the next few days, ask me, and I'll reply my best on the comments. And then I'll be unlisting this specific video on YouTube. So cheers. John says, cake or more cake? I'm a little bit tired of cake. I've had a lot. Earlier today I had a banana bread with chocolate, and it was delicious at a cafe called Pervious, I think it was called. Let me pop up the name. I'm gonna post a photo right here. There we go. This was the banana bread I had earlier today. Pavisi. Located in a street called Turkmenstraat, something along those lines. And it's a very hip street along the university area of Munich. Really recommend it. There's a great selection of restaurants, cafes, and shops for clothes, both new and vintage. Hey, Martine says, fun fact, when you were in New York, when you were in Paris, I was in New York, which made it feel like we switched places, even though I'm Dutch. Yeah, that's awesome, Martine. Hopefully you enjoyed the Netherlands. Have you tried Kaiser Shaman? Says Leslie. No, what's Kaiser Shaman? Do let me know. Kaiser Shamaran. I don't know how to pronounce that, but do let me know what that is. What is that? I tried today white asparagus here at Paulaner, so let me pop up that photo right now so people know what I ate. Now I'll show you the brewery. So here's the brewery. The beer I'm drinking right now is being brewed here. This is amazing. And then the meal I just had is white asparagus drenched in melted butter with a side of hollandaise sauce that you're supposed to soak it all on it, along with the roasted potatoes, and the side of Wiener Schnitzel, which is breaded veal, and it was all amazing. I really loved it. I tried, this asparagus. There's even better asparagus out there, but this one was pretty standout. I really enjoyed it. Very soft, very chewy. Not chewy, very soft, very tender. And asparagus might sound weird to have as a meal, but I do recommend it, actually. It's like a vegan steak, in essence. Bella says, Ariel's always eating good. So yeah, I do recommend it. And it's the season for white asparagus, and white asparagus is really treasured in this part of the world, along with a few other countries nearby. Because when I went to the Netherlands, it was a similar thing. Susie says, no sauerkraut soup. Ooh, that does not sound appetizing. Leslie says it's been ages, but I remember being crossed between an omelet and a pancake. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of other dishes I did not get to try. It's a bit hard here in Germany because they don't sound appetizing, a portion of these dishes, when you look at the name, when you look at the ingredients. So it sucks. Sharon says, I'm sunburned. No, I'm not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is frequently called the Asian flush. Luckily I got a very minor one with this brand of beer. It agrees with me way better than other beers. I love asparagus and I eat it often, says Jenny. Ooh, yes, Jenny. That's amazing. I'm glad you do. And that's wonderful to hear. Ella says, did you visit my husband's family's castle, the Lindenhof? Oh, is your husband's family related to the people who live there, or the engineers, or the architect? I would love to know more about that. But yes, I did visit Lindenhof. I'll be posting 2 videos about Lindenhof very soon. One about the general history of Lindenhof, and one about the little smoking lounge that King Ludwig II had nearby. So if people don't know, King Ludwig II, who built the fairy tale castle, Neuschwanstein, actually primarily lived in Lindenhof because Neuschwanstein wasn't fully completed until after his death. So Lindenhof was, instead of being a fairy tale based on Wagner plays, it was more recreation of the Palace of Versailles, but done in a miniature way, and it was really cool. Asparagus is a good natural diuretic, says Susie. Oh yeah, gonna have fun in 10 minutes. Oh yeah, that's also here, Susie. Colleen says cheers. Colleen, cheers to you too. So feel free to ask me anything about Germany. Someone asked me what's next on my trip. I'm back to New York. I will be doing more short videos about New York. No live videos until Memorial Day and June through July 4th. I'll be going live, but not on my YouTube channel. I'll be going live on the Classic Harbor Line YouTube channel. Classic Harbor Line YouTube channel. Right now, follow it. Classic Harbor Line YouTube channel. I'll be announcing the schedule in a few days, so everyone knows when I'm tuning in live. I'll be showing you all the New York City waterways. It won't be my typical live videos because there will be a guide on each of these boats that will be taking all around New York City waterways, but as the guide takes breaks, I'll be chatting with people on the live stream, including all of you, the ones who want to tune in. Don't try too much beer for my month, because there was a time I weighed at least 98 pounds. A few sips and it was all over, says Leslie. Really? Yeah. Beer here, I thought it was going to be weak. And I think I initially said in one of my live streams that beer here was less stronger than the US, but no. Beer here is stronger than the US. The typical beer here is 5.6%, 5.8%, some of them. When in the US they go as low as 5.1. So I'm kind of shocked. And then in the UK, they go lower. They go 3.8 to 4.8 for average pint of beer. That's why in the UK people have few pints. Here it's maximum 2, at least from one gathering. I'm gonna clean my lens, be right back. All right, there we go. Hey, I remember having to pay for the bathrooms. Yeah, the bathrooms you have to pay if they're public. Pardon that. You have to pay if they're public. So on the subway, which is the U-Bahn or the S-Bahn, or other transportation networks here, there's a lot of bathrooms in the stations. And then you have to pay for restrooms in some bakeries. The main bakery chain is called Reichart. And and they have restrooms there, but you do have to pay €1 So restrooms I've seen anywhere from 60 cents to €1. However, if you're in a beer hall like this, no, the restrooms are free. And a pro tip, there's really one beer hall that's really open. You can just stroll in, and that's Hofbräuhaus, right in the center of Marienplatz. That's a way to use the bathroom for free. Here, not so much. This place is more sit-down table service. So PJ says, you look like you've lost weight, looking healthier. PJ, comparing to when? Do let me know. I'm very curious. Comparing to when? Because I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel like I need to embark in a trip to a very hot country, very hot, very warm, so I can sweat a lot and walk a lot in the burning hot sun. I think I need to do that very soon. I've been too used to sitting down too long because I haven't done too many live videos in the past few months, aside from this past trip. But thank you, I appreciate that. Maybe if you're comparing it to 2 weeks ago, then maybe you're right. Susie says Puerto Rico. Oh yeah. Bella. Susie, tune in, Susie. Bella, nice to see you here. What has been your favorite part and your least favorite part of the trip? That's a great question, Emily. So, welcome everyone tuning in. Feel free to ask me anything about my trip, Paris and Germany, or anything in general about travel to Europe. But my favorite memory... It's going to Hofbräuhaus with my parents. So I'm traveling with family, and we went to Hofbräuhaus, which is the main famous beer hall here in Munich. And we went the very first night when we came in on the train via Paris, from Paris. It was like a 4-hour something train ride. And my parents were, of course, a bit tired. So we went to the beer hall, and it was so vibrant. There were so many people there, tourists and locals alike, all laughing and cavorting, and there was a lot of conviviality. That's the word that I keep kind of going back to here in Germany, which for my parents, it struck them very strongly because it was a stark difference from Paris. So in Paris, there's not that much conviviality. Conviviality is a very interesting word because it means kind of the act of kind of partaking with other people and having a good time. The Parisians certainly do enjoy life, but it's not convivial. It's more sitting down, having a smoke, drinking your wine, chatting about the philosophy of life, chatting about politics, about history. You know, the Parisian lifestyle is different. It's not convivial. I wouldn't call it convivial. I would call it, there has to be a better word for the Parisian lifestyle. But Germany, especially right now here in Bavaria and Munich, it is convivial. So it's a lot of laughter, a lot of like joking around, people chatting, music was playing, live music was playing at Hofbräuhaus. So it was a good memory going to Hofbräuhaus. My least favorite memory, this trip has all been well and good. I loved almost everything about it. I think my least favorite memory is I took my parents to 2 different restaurants. One of them in Paris, one of them was an amazing restaurant called Bistro Rougemont. And then the second one I took them to was a bit disappointing. It was in the middle of the Marais, which is a fairly good area to go out for a meal. But the place it had no soul. And that's why when we went to it was literally the next day. When we went to the next day to Hofbräuhaus, it felt like a day to night difference. night to day difference, I mean, where the Parisian restaurant was a bit, quiet and very relaxed, and the food there was almost everything you find anywhere else in Paris. But the one in Germany, the Hofbräuhaus, was a lot of music, a lot of people hanging out, communal tables, lots of conviviality. That doesn't mean that Paris is boring. Quite the reverse. Paris is amazing, and they truly know how to enjoy life. But it's a different vibe. Same thing with New York City. Next it says Hofbräuhaus is pronounced Brauhaus. Hofbrauhaus. I'm trying to my best to pronounce it the German way, and they pronounce the B-R-A-U as Bräu, as opposed to bro or brow. I've seen a lot of American travel content creators, or Rick Steves, for example, they pronounce it Hofbrauhaus, yeah. But I think the Germans pronounce that B-R-A-U as Bräu. But I'm not an expert in German. Hey, have you remembered to buy German-made gifts for special people back home? No, I'm doing carry-on, and I'm doing a connecting flight. I don't want to take the risk. I don't want to take the risk of losing souvenirs if I were to check baggage. I don't have enough space because I bought clothes, including this. I bought this in France as well, same company. I'll show you. So I bought clothes. I don't have capacity in my carry-on luggage, so I'm kind of screwed. So I can't really bring souvenirs. I wanted to bring like 2 of these glasses. There was one specific one, the one from Nuremberger restaurant right by the Frauenkirch. I wanted to bring those because those look so beautiful. And they had like a monk in the front of the church, gorgeous, but excuse me, I don't have space. So yeah, this is the jacket I bought in Paris, Le Mont Saint-Michel. And the shirt is the same company. Susie says a beer stein would be too cumbersome. Yeah, usually I check my baggage, but I'm taking a connecting flight, and I wouldn't even risk checking my baggage on the connecting flight nowadays. Leslie says, you are indeed correct about the pronunciation of Hofbräuhaus. You can't forget that umlaut. Yeah, that's why many Americans will pronounce it Hofbräuhaus, but it's Hofbräuhaus. And Wendy asks, have you found a German wife? No, I did not. I can't deny, I find the German accent quite sexy. I had a crush, I used to have a crush on Diane Kruger. John says, just wanted to say thank you for all your traveling. For someone that has always wanted to travel and has been unable to, it's amazing. Oh man, I'm so happy I can take you around the world on these live videos. I needed a break from traveling for the past few months, but now that I'm traveling again for these past 2 weeks, I miss traveling, so I want to do it more now. Diana says, if you're going to buy clothes, yes, do it in Paris. I love the jacket. And I know you're going to work it. Put extra clothes in a pillowcase and they would think it's a pillow for travel, says Kay. Genius. Does that work, Kay? That's a genius, if it does. Naga says, my favorite skyscraper, Chrysler Building. Will you explore India? One day I will explore India. Let me know if there's any live streamers in India. I'm very curious. Live streamers that explore India, to be specific. Al says, told you to be careful. German beer is much more potent. Yeah, I did not think it would be, but it is. It is indeed more potent than the average UK beer or Irish beer. But definitely not as potent as the Belgian beers. Because Belgium, they don't serve beer this big, usually. Ender says, do you ever feel sad coming back to the US? Yes. Well, luckily I'm from New York City, so I don't feel sad about the urbanism concept. It does suck. Because for part of my life, I did live in the suburbs of New York. So it did suck living in the suburbs and knowing that a lot of these European cities and their suburbs are all walkable and connected via public transportation, and then going back. And no, I have to rely on a car, even to get groceries, even to get a baked good. It really sucked. So yeah, it does suck. I wish more of America was urban, and it sucked going to other parts of the US, because I went to Seattle and I went to Chicago, and while those cities were interesting cities in their own right, it sucked that it was tough to really travel anywhere else beyond Seattle by train or bus. It was doable to go to Portland, but it was an obscene 4 hours to get to a city that in European rail standards would take 1 hour to get to. Seattle and Portland should be 1 hour away from each other in high-speed rail, but no, they take 4 hours, and there's not that many trains, and they're very expensive and they're very old. So I quite never enjoyed going to, yeah, it's a bummer when I'm in the US in terms of urbanism. In terms of food, it's a bummer too. As I mentioned, US has amazing food culture. Like, there's very interesting dishes we made, very famous dishes we made. Hamburgers, the modern day hot dog with the fluffy buns, the Chinese food. We also have like pizza, New York City style pizza. So many different dishes, barbecue as well. But the quality sucks in general. It could be higher. It's good enough, but it could be higher. There's too much junk in our foods, unnecessarily so. And then produce is not necessarily as fresh as it could be. Emily says that same problem in Greece. That's why I moved back into the city. Got sick of being car dependent. Oh, interesting. Too bad you're not here in the time of Oktoberfest. I heard it's awesome. I heard it's awesome, but also extremely expensive. So I'm not sure how much budget I would need to visit Munich for Oktoberfest. Ron says, I heard Sudan is nice this time of year. Do you experience much nightlife in Munich? I don't think there really is. I think the German city for nightlife is Berlin, to go raving. Wendy says, will you explore my house next? Andrew says, do you ever feel... Oh yeah, I already answered that. Why are the Germans into beer while the French are into wine? That's an excellent question. And from what I've researched, the main reason was the difference between the Roman culture and the quote-unquote barbarian culture, which was the Germanic tribes and the Celtic tribes. That was the main differentiating point between wine and beer. Wine was seen as classy. It was easier to make in Italy, but it was also seen as classy. And same thing for the Greeks, seen as classy. So they thought that wine was a better quality drink than beer. Also, they didn't know how to make beer too well, too. So they perfected wine more in Italy in ancient Rome and ancient Greece. And the extent of the Roman Empire where they were really hands-on is still to this day the places where you find more wine than beer. So modern day France, modern day Spain, modern day parts of Portugal, modern day Greece, modern day Italy, modern day most of those places is where you'll find more wine. However, in the places where the ancient Roman Empire did not really seep into too strictly, still are more beer drinkers. And one reason might be the weather, because you can't really grow too many grapes, at least in the past few hundred years. It was not really viable to grow wine, to make wine here in the northern parts of Europe and also in the UK. So that might be one reason. And the second reason is that cultural difference between ancient Rome and the Germanic tribes and the Celtic tribes. So then that's why you have UK, Ireland, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, and Scandinavia, all more beer drinkers than wine drinkers. I think it's those two factors, weather and culture. Do you want some cheese with that wine? Says John. No, cheese and wine is a nice combination, but I like my beer. Beer was also a good substitute for water. That might be the third reason. Great interpretation, Chris. Beer is a good substitute for bad quality water. So in the ancient Rome, there was a better aqueduct system. Hence, they were able to provide better spring water to its citizens. It's due to the infrastructure and the economic and technological might of the ancient Roman Empire. And B is also due to the close proximity to said water springs. So ancient Rome had better quality water, at least in Rome itself, the city, but also other parts of Italy, and I think also parts of southern France. However, and also Spain. However, in the parts that were Germanic and Celtic, I don't think they had an aqueduct system until a few hundred years ago. So that might be the reason that since they didn't have as consistent, great quality water as the ancient Roman areas did, they leaned on more on beer as a replacement. And beer, as opposed to wine, you can produce it to be very light. And from what I read, most of ancient beer, medieval beer, was actually very light. It was about 2% maximum, and even lighter than that for like the beer you would drink in the morning, like 1%. So it'd be very, very light. Wendy says, I prefer wine, but good lager ice cold on a hot day is nice. Yeah, let me know what you prefer, wine or beer. All right, everyone, I'm gonna stick around for 5 more minutes. Feel free to ask me anything. I'm so glad so many people tuned in. Full of great history. I can listen to you for a lifetime, says Wendy. Oh, I'm so glad. When you see thirsty squirrels in the park begging for water, do you give them water from your bottle? Says Michael. No, Michael, I do not. Gary says, Gary's asking me if I'm wearing lederhosen. No. But I did see lederhosen at a vintage shop earlier. The Toonster says, interesting. That led to a full-scale lecture on the cultural history. But Germany and France all have almost the same weather. No? I don't think so. So I have personal experience. Bavaria, if you saw my video from Neuschwanstein, and right now in the city, it's very green. See my videos of Avignon and Provence and the south of France from last year. You'll notice one stark difference. Here's super green, over there's drier and hotter. And it's more temperate weather year round. So there's a big difference. France is a big country, so northern France might be closer to Germany, or definitely a place like Strasbourg. But southern France, where most of the wine is produced, is very warm, very different from Germany. John says, I like your shorts. Oh, I'm so glad you like my shorts. Yeah, well, I'm wearing long pants today. Oh, you mean my short videos? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Any departure from the airport stream? It always depends on the airport. I am much more cautious about doing airport streams because I did a short TikTok at the British airport, at London airport, and I got stopped and interviewed by one of their customs agents. Just for, like, that TikTok was like a minute. I saw the plane from the window, and so I take out my phone and do a TikTok where I was saying goodbye to the UK. And immediately, as I finished recording, a customs agent came right towards me, said, hey, we need to speak with you. And they interviewed me and asked me questions about why I traveled to the UK, what I was doing there, what do I work in, where am I from, and they collected other information. So that kind of deterred me from trying to do too many videos at airports, which kind of sucks. Will you tour Luxembourg? One day, not right now, but I do want to go one day. PJ says, stepped away. I only found you within the last 2 weeks. Not sure how the previous videos were, but I can see a difference. Oh, cool. All right, that's awesome, PJ. So PJ was referring to me looking even healthier, looking trim, like a beautiful model. Hey, enjoy the jeopardy of being busted, says Almo. Yeah, indeed. It wasn't anything more severe than that, luckily. What you say is we got clean water. The world was governed by drunk politicians, says Michael. We're talking about many, many hundreds of years. Francis says, hi there. Hey, Francis. All right. I'm going to finish off this beer. This place is empty. Wow. Monday, no one comes. No one comes on the Monday. 2 families is left. No one comes on the Monday. Unless if it's like later at night. It's not like in France. In Paris, people are drinking all times. It's rare to find places completely empty in Paris. New York, well, it depends. Cheers. Wow. That was so good. So ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you watching. I do recommend Munich, as I mentioned many times over. My favorite beer brewery from the classic ones so far is Paulaner. Really love them. I think their beer is so flavorful, and also it agrees with me really well. So stay tuned for Classic Harbor Line. On YouTube, I'll be announcing the times I'll be going, but you'll see live videos of all those New York City waterways soon. Everyone, keep being awesome, or always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Auf Wiedersehen.